So before we get into the good stuff and what we're all here for, I would love to give just kind of a brief overview of the Data Connect conference, the competition itself. I'll let Alessia kind of go into her presentation, and then we will share with you how to vote. So if this is your first experience hearing about the Data Connect conference Data Viz competition, we host it every year. We get hundreds of applications in. It is very difficult, but somehow we nail it down to a top 10. And that's who you're seeing live stream with us over the last couple of weeks and into the next week as well. We open up voting virtually. So at the end of this conversation today, I'll go through and show everyone how they can view each of those vizzes, interact with them, and then vote for their favorite. And then once we've tallied votes, voting does stop March 28th, so the end of this month. And we will narrow it down to a top 5 based on those votes. The top 5 will get an opportunity to join us here in Columbus, Ohio for the annual Data Connect conference. We set up a very cool, kind of Data Viz, like art gallery-esque kind of concept. So it's really fun to see it all put together. They get an opportunity to kind of chat with others at the event about their viz. And then we vote live for a top 3 at the conference. So we are here with Alessia today. She put together a data viz called Can Money Buy Happiness? And she's here to kind of chat with us about what she's put together. So thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen. I'm gonna present you a little bit about myself and about my entry. Okay, so here we are. So good morning, everyone. My name is Alessia Musio. And my surname is not really spelled with 3 I, it's just the way it's pronounced. So a few things about me. I love handcraft, photography, and pasta. And you can find me playing with data or playing Tetris. I'm a huge fan of the game. Other than that, I'm a freelance information designer living in Milan, Italy. It's so nice to meet you. So today I want to tell you a little bit about my project, which is called Can Money Buy Happiness? But first, I would start with a question. Why should we talk about happiness? This is because, in my opinion, the life satisfaction value is the most important indicator to understand if a country is doing well. So, to investigate which were the happiest and the saddest countries in the world, my main data source was the World Happiness Report. After exploring it, I decided to enrich my visualization with some data on population and GDP per capita. And this is the final dataset. I wanted to make a static piece, a poster. So to avoid informational overload, I took what, among all countries with more than 5 million people, were the 10 happiest and the 10 saddest. Then I built a rank based on population and GDP per capita data. This helped me to build the axis of my visualization, avoiding overlapping or too much empty space. Finally, I included a column to understand whether or not the life satisfaction value had increased since 2010. And this is how I started to structure my visualization. I copy-pasted the data on row graphs, an open source tool that I really recommend you to try if you don't already know it. So once we have adjusted the formatting and chosen the visual model, we need to map all the variables. After adjusting the graphical appearance to have a good base to work on, we can download the graph in SVG format. And this is the final result, developed on Adobe Illustrator. In this last phase, I worked on the graphical appearance of my bubble chart, adjusting colors, fonts, inserting a title, a brief description, the labels, and the legend. I decided to use smiling and sad emoji to indicate the happiest and the saddest countries. What I wanted to achieve was a visualization that, at the first glance, was relatable to this concept of happiness that I wanted to explore. I thought that nowadays we are all familiar with emoji, and it might be a good idea to use them. So what's the answer to the initial question? Unfortunately, it's yes. In fact, we can see all the happiest countries having a higher GDP, while the saddest ones are in the lower half of the graph. Something that I'd like to do in the future is to repeat the analysis considering all the countries, not just the 10 happiest and the 10 saddest, to kind of understand what happens in the middle. And here you can see some zooms of the graph and the legend. And another thing that I wanted to show was the comparison with the 2010 value, which I visualized through a color indicator next to the country name. I did this to provide the reader with an additional level of detail. And that's it. Thank you so much for your attention. I cannot hear you, so maybe.
Sorry. Thank you so much for presenting that. This is such a beautiful looking visualization. So we really appreciate you putting that together and sharing it with everyone.
Thank you so much.
So I will show how everyone can tune in and vote. So if you're interested in participating and contributing and voting for your favorite, the first thing you can do is go to the Data Connect conference website. It is dataconnectconf.com. Up here in the top right corner, there's a more drop down. You can go to the Data Viz competition, learn a little bit about the competition itself. We've got, like I mentioned, we've done this every year. This is our sixth time hosting this competition. Voting does close on March 28th. And then the top 3 winners, there are some prizes at stake. And bragging rights, of course. So if you scroll a little bit further down, you can click through each one of these. It'll have a title, who created it, just a cover image, a little bit about the submission. And then if you'd like to go in and interact and kind of explore these a little bit further, each one will also have a link at the bottom. Once you have made it through all of the top 10, you can scroll back up here, click on this link, and vote for your favorite viz. So we hope that you'll check each one of these out and stay tuned for some other presentations popping up over the next week or so. And thanks so much, Alessia, for presenting your viz and putting this together for the competition. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Have a great one, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.